Hi everyone, and welcome to a massive week for UDIA Victoria. I'm Danni Hunter, the Victorian Chief Executive here at UDIA, and our team has been working incredibly hard in recent months with our volunteer army of committee members as we've developed a comprehensive and in-depth submission to the Commissioner for Better Regulation and the Red Tape Commissioner on the Victorian Government's review of the planning and building approvals process. This is a really landmark submission for UDIA Victoria, and it really is the culmination of months of consultation with our membership and input from organisations and individuals who operate in the urban development industry, led by Caroline Speed, our Director of Policy and Research at UDIA Victoria, with great assistance from Mimi Marcus from our very own Planning Committee. The Commissioner, Anna Cronin, will make her interim report to Treasurer Palace and Minister Wynne in the coming weeks, and we will be coordinating a final submission responding to the draft recommendations in the later months of this year. But for now, here's a snapshot, and the full submission is available on our website at udiavic.com.au. So we all know that the urban development industry works really hard to keep up with population growth. And as well, it is a major contributor to the Victorian economy. Our industry creates affordable and accessible housing, it improves transport connections, and it really builds communities. So the way that the planning and building approval processes work is really important to us doing a good job. The legal and regulatory framework for planning and building approvals is really complex, and there are several different laws that dictate what happens in the planning process. As well, the culture of government planners and decision makers is critically important as the industry relies on them to effectively communicate with each other and to coordinate across parts of government and also with the urban development industry. The stated aim of the Andrews government housing strategy, which is called Homes for Victorians, is to give every Victorian every opportunity to find a home and to ensure that housing accommodates population growth in Victoria by facilitating the construction of more than 50,000 new dwellings each year. But the latest data from the Victoria in Future release, which is the government's own population data, shows that in fact we need to deliver around 64,000 new homes every year here in Victoria, which equates to about 175 per day every day through to 2050. It's in this context that the urban development industry has identified a number of problems and delays in the planning approval processes that are really significant to us being able to do that. And they're particularly problematic when it comes to internal and external referrals processes and the additional approvals required following a planning permit being granted. These issues in Victoria's planning and building system are potentially impeding our capacity and the state's capacity to deliver housing, to get business up and running, and to invest in infrastructure efficiently. Many of the delays and hurdles are due to multiple referral processes and a whole lot of duplication. This includes the widely variable internal referral processes within local government and other agencies like VicRoads and Gas and Utilities. So it makes sense that the Andrews government is reviewing the state and local government processes that surround building and planning approval processes, and in particular early building works for infrastructure approvals. And we are working with them to identify opportunities where the process can be streamlined and delays can be reduced and efficiencies can be found. So what did we recommend? We made a number of recommendations to change things. Firstly, we argue that fully digitising the planning permit application process has to simply be a number one priority for government. Secondly, we call for a panel of technical experts to be set up to support the assessment of complex planning permit applications. We need the knowledge, we need the attention. We also call for training to be provided to council planners on a range of issues relating to statutory and non-statutory referrals processes, and also to requesting further information and drafting permit conditions. We argue that there needs to be improvement to the statutory referrals processes by elevating the importance of acting as a referral authority, by creating dedicated teams within referral authorities, and by delivering training for their staff and training on how to draft permit conditions. And lastly, we zoom in on the growth areas infrastructure charge and recommend a raft of changes to how GAIC is implemented and applied through the planning and development process. So all in all, the reality is that Victoria has a number of barriers to achieving a much more robust planning regime with better and faster decision making. In our submission, we examine the key issues that our industry, the urban development industry, frequently identifies. And we have also proposed a number of case study examples to demonstrate the problems that are faced. We provide recommendations on how to improve the processes and outcomes and ultimately ensure that better and faster decision making is a core component of our system. Our submission, I must say, is well worth a read. It's wonderfully drafted by the team, and we'll particularly be waiting very eagerly to see the Victorian Government's response to the Commissioner's interim report before we make a final submission later in the year. So once again, thank you to our incredible army of volunteer members who contributed to the submission on behalf of the urban development industry. Our committees work so hard in these processes and it's important that they're supported. They do meaningful work and we would not be able to give the industry the voice we can without their input. So thank you, and I'll be back in a few weeks with some more updates on what the Victorian Government is doing to improve the planning and building system.